Hello everybody, this is Sophia Sunshine and I'm here in Cairo with the Great Pyramid behind me. Just finishing up a pilgrimage, and I thought I would just reflect in this video for a few minutes about pilgrimage in places that are powerful like Egypt, and there are powerful places everywhere. And if and how we access that power is kind of the question that I want to put out there. I think one of the main things that this pilgrimage has taught me, and in some ways it's not surprising, but in another way it's very surprising, because these temples that we've visited throughout this pilgrimage are known as memory palaces. And there's something to visiting these sacred places that activates some type of memory, some type of raising of consciousness or awareness that we really, you don't know what's going to happen. And we all have conscious and unconscious expectations. But the greatest realization that came to me was that these energies, these netru, these gods, these goddesses, these wisdom principles that the Egyptian mysticism is so famous for. We know them as Osiris and Isis and Set and Nephthys and Nut and Mut and Horus, and the pantheon is prolific. But these all are wisdom principles that live inside of us. But how do we access those? And there's something to putting ourselves in the spirit of the place and going on the journey and coming up against the whatever resistance or openness or confrontation or challenges or even joyful experiences that we might have that does activate these things for us. And for me, that was especially, strangely enough, in going to several temples and not feeling what I thought I might feel, including resistance. But seeing Sekhmet, who is the goddess of war and healing, was by far one of the most powerful experiences being here. Because I know her story, and we as humans know her story of violence and destruction, and the transmutation of that pain and suffering into forgiveness and the desire to heal. And I think a lot of us are experiencing that, maybe not in a fully conscious way because of how much division has come into our social communal structures, that there is a sense of, in our separation from our fellow humans, from our communities, from peace, that is in a way a form of violence. And there are so many things going on today that are just almost impossible to reconcile, and that creates a form of dissonance within us energetically, of suffering. And so seeing Sekhmet surrounded by hundreds of versions of herself that had been destroyed, because we know how war is on sacred lands like this. They come in and generations and generations before us, but after the magic ones come through and destroy the images that they don't believe in. But we come back to retrieve the beliefs and the feelings and the symbols and the wisdom of those images. And so here she was, sitting in her wholeness with a tiny little rope around her, as if that would protect her from further destruction. And yet there were hundreds of versions around this beautiful goddess Sekhmet that were demolished. And she sat in such strong repose, containing her own history of violence, of coming through and drinking the blood of the humans and creating full-on destruction, but also containing the wisdom of waking up to compassion and love and healing and forgiveness of herself and the humans. and becoming one of the greatest healers because she knows both sides. And I feel like that's the medicine that we all need, is to work with our pain and our suffering and our violence and our anger in order to transmute it into this still point of understanding our divinity and our indestructible nature. That even if they came and destroyed the next statue of her, the last statue of her, that she would still exist. Her power of forgiveness and love, of patience, all distilled down into that one single place, that one single moment, really resonated with me. Especially as I'm stepping more and more into my own feminine and stepping out of a place where I feel I need to be taking action or reacting or showing some type of productive movement to feel like I have validity in the world, and into a more feminine place of dark wisdom and subtle response that can create waves. It's hard to explain. It's a different form of knowing and being. But I feel Sekhmet is actually very important to that. And so this remembering that's beyond the mind, this remembering that's beyond the constructs, and pilgrimage, whether you choose to do pilgrimage within your own life, you don't necessarily need to go away. There are ways of remembering by simply putting yourself into a different place, a different state of mind, and opening ourselves to be changed. So here I am, and we are just a day away from leaving Egypt, and I think what has really dropped in is the importance of our authentic wisdom. We have plenty of polarizing forces on the planet right now, and they are stirring the pot in many ways, and they're creating more and more division amongst us and within us. But I just want to really reinforce that there's something to personal sovereignty, there's something to authenticity, and this for me feels like wisdom and medicine that is extremely important to today's healing of the planet and of each other and of our relations. So I hope you'll go forth and be curious about what that means to you, what pilgrimage means to you, what sacred life and earth and community means to you, what sovereignty means to you, and what authenticity. How are you showing up in your life in an authentic way and giving yourself permission to be your own person? So blessings on your journey, and thanks for listening. This is Sophia Sunshine coming to you from Egypt at the base of the Great Pyramid. Aho.